If you've ever spent time on LinkedIn or Instagram, or even in a professional workshop, you've probably heard the phrase personal branding. Honestly, I've always hated this term. Somehow, being a person has turned into a business model. Why does everything, even our identities, have to be packaged and monetized? What kind of world are we living in where simply existing isn't enough? This term personal branding gets tossed around so much that it's lost any real meaning. Truthfully though, it never had any real meaning to begin with. Everyone seems so busy working hard on building their brand, but when you ask them what that means, they usually stumble. Is it a logo, a curated Instagram feed, a color palette and catchy headline? Or is it simply an excuse to take more selfies? The problem is that very few people can articulate what personal branding means beyond the buzzword. They're told that they need a personal brand, but they can't really explain what it's doing for them or why they feel the pressure to create one in the first place. It's more performance than purpose. Instead of focusing on building real skills, offering value, and connecting authentically, people are obsessing over polishing an image. And here's the irony. This concept was meant to make individuals stand out, but in reality, it's flattening everyone into the same tired hashtags and buzzwords. So how did the term personal brand become a thing? And what does it even mean? Do we actually need to worry about this? Let's unpack it. In the late 90s, management consultant Tom Peters published an article on Fast Company called The Brand Called You. He argued that individuals need to think of themselves like companies, unique, differentiated, and marketable. And this is where I think the term personal branding really got its start. You can still read this article online. I'll leave a link to it down below. I've read this a few times, and not everything that Peters says is bad. He actually gives some solid advice. Professionals should take ownership of their careers and not rely on corporations. Figure out what makes you unique and marketable so you can advance in your job. This is all great advice. If you want a successful career, these are things that you should be thinking about. But framing yourself as a business, that's where things get weird. We're humans, not companies. Should our personality traits be optimized for consumption? Probably not. When you adopt this mindset, authenticity takes a backseat. How you look to others becomes more important than the actual substance of your work. Social media took the concept of personal branding to a whole new level. Platforms like Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, and Instagram have turned people into products with measurable metrics, engagement, followers, and likes becoming the new currency. Suddenly, your value isn't in the work that you do, but how you package yourself. Every post, outfit, vacation, and caption becomes a personal branding opportunity. People literally curating their entire lives to fit in their personal brand aesthetic. Layer on top of that the gig economy and influencer culture. As traditional career paths became less stable, the pressure grew to monetize yourself. Your skills, hobbies, and personality all became marketable traits. The logic became if companies are brands and creators are brands, then everybody needs to be a brand. And if you're not treating yourself like a business, you're falling behind. That's how we ended up in today's reality, where being a person isn't enough unless it's optimized, marketed, and profitable. What started out as a way to stand out in your career has morphed into something totally different. A system where authenticity is commodified and our identities are curated for clicks, not connection. When we talk about branding in a business context, we talk about something very specific. A brand is a promise. It's the sum of your expectations and associations with a company. But when we apply that concept to people, things get fuzzy. For some, creating a personal brand means curating the perfect LinkedIn profile. For others, it's about posting every day on Instagram and building an audience. And that's the problem. When everyone has a definition of what personal branding is, it starts to mean nothing. So what should personal branding actually mean? A personal brand is not your headshot, Instagram profile, or LinkedIn caption. It's what people consistently experience when they interact with you. It's not what you say about yourself, it's what others say about you once you leave the room. It's not about being everywhere, it's being remembered for something specific. And it's not a logo or tagline, it's trust built over time. If someone knows you as the colleague who always works great under pressure, or the consultant that delivers work a week ahead of schedule, or the designer who listens carefully to their client before actually designing anything. That's your personal brand. And it didn't come from some marketing campaign, it came from your actions. In reality, personal branding is just a fancy term for something that we've always had, our reputations. We didn't need a new buzzword to describe this, but somewhere along the way, we turned personal branding into a product, a commodity to package, market, and sell. Suddenly, anyone can slap together a personal brand and call themselves an expert, regardless of talent, experience, or actual value. It's become a playground for the shallow and opportunistic. Social media is filled with people performing their brand instead of doing actual, real, meaningful work. And the online market is flooded with ebooks, workshops, and courses that will teach you the secret to personal branding. Most of it, complete garbage. Endless promises designed to take your money and make you feel like you're not good enough. They'll convince you that the problem is you, not the system that's preying on your insecurities. We've turned reputation, something earned through consistency, integrity, and actual skills, into a cosmetic product. The focus is no longer on substance or contribution. It's on how polished your Instagram feed looks, how catchy your tagline is, or how many followers you've collected. And the worst part, people actually buy into it, thinking that a carefully curated persona is the same thing as being good at what they do. So is there a way to make personal branding meaningful? I think so. Instead of treating personal branding as a checklist of social media tactics, think of it as an alignment exercise. Ask yourself, what do I want to be known for? And not in the vague sense of being successful. Think specifics: reliable leadership, creative problem solving, strategic thinking. Do my actions line up with that? Posting about leadership doesn't make you a leader. Leading does. Your actions speak louder than words. Would others describe me this way without me prompting them? If your brand is authentic, it shows up in how people talk about you when you're not in the room. The goal isn't to build a brand in the advertising sense. It's to cultivate a reputation that feels true to who you are and valuable to the people that you work with. Personal branding has become this hollow buzzword because we confuse appearances with actual substance. You don't need a perfect content strategy or polished elevator pitch to curate your brand. You already have one: your reputation. The only real question is whether it reflects what you want to be known for. So maybe it's time we stop obsessing over personal branding and start focusing on something simpler and far more powerful. Living and working in a way that makes people trust, value, and respect us. Because at the end of the day, your brand isn't your profile picture. It's your promise. Thanks for watching.